It's time to get right back into the... Whenever I'm not moving at all, and then my camera just takes off, it's always because I wasn't actually holding my mouse, and then I reach for my mouse and I fuck it up! Travel to the canyon wreckage near Prim and enter the Divide. It's time for the final DLC, and then we can start unpacking the actual main story. I don't know, I feel like it makes more sense to do the DLC in the middle of the game than, like, at the end, like after the game or something. I'm actually not sure if you can keep playing after you beat this game or not. Maybe you can. But the ending feels like the ending. It always feels a bit disappointing to wrap up the story and then come back to then, after you've already finished the story, then come back for a bunch of little side stories. It's inevitable. Oops, you guys are friendly now. I forgot that you guys don't attack me anymore. I remembered this place from being attacked by coyotes and stuff before. It's inevitably how the playthrough goes when you're playing the game as it's new and then DLC comes out, but once DLC is out and it's not specifically like sequel DLC, I feel like it often makes the most sense to play it during the game at some point. But, you know, the irony with games like this is that the only way you can get an ideal run of the story is by having so much knowledge of the game that you already know what all the permutations are, and then you can make plans based on that. This involves, like, which factions you side with, how you resolve each quest, what order you do quests in, which companions you take with you on which quests, and, like, all this optimization to do about how to get the most out of the game requires you to beat like, all the people that know how to do that are people that have beaten the game several times, and so it's ironic because at the point they're putting on a puppet show for themselves because they already know what everything does, and so they're like telling the scenes to play in an order they find the most enjoyable. It's a bit less like having the ideal viewing order of the Star Wars movies and more like I re-edited the Star Wars movies to be the ideal cinematic experience. I'm personally rechanging some of the scene order and omitting some and using this deleted scene. It's like that kind of stuff to an extent. It's hard for me to best plan it out when I both don't know what happens in each DLC and don't know what happens in the overall arc of the story. People basically gave me the idea that I was hitting a point of no return in the main story when I met Caesar, and that was pretty much the whole reason why I then decided, okay, we better do all these DLCs then real quick, and that's why we've been doing this. And I don't know if any of that's accurate. One thing I always know is that if I respond to any level of audience feedback about anything, it's often a thing that several people were all saying in agreement with each other in isolation, but the moment you act on that thing that everyone's saying, suddenly you have a new wave of people that all disagree with the thing that you did, and you're like, fucking, this isn't fair. And to some extent, that phenomenon with the audience is a thing that happens because the people that disagree with those people they didn't all meet in a committee and decide on their answers or anything. It's that those people were all disagreeing with your current behavior, and then the people who agreed with your current behavior or didn't have opinions or didn't know that you were going to potentially do this thing that other people were saying because they're not part of that conversation, then are now dealing with the thing that you've done because of those other people, and now they protest with that. So it's not like an inconsistency exactly, but from a presenter perspective, it's very interesting and frustrating to enact on something that feels like a unanimous audience opinion and then immediately be hit by all the people that disagree with those people, and you're like, fuck, listening to the audience ever is dumb and a bad idea. So in this case, immediately people were like, what? No, there's tons of the story left. What are you talking about? You're not entering the end game, despite all the people that said you're entering the end game. And on like similar-ish levels, like there was we pre-recorded all of Fear and Hunger, and in response to Fear and Hunger, a ton of people all came out of the woodwork all saying to use this one censorship mod. And it's like, yeah, that would have been nice if that was around and we knew that existed. So we used that censorship mod in sequel. And then everyone says, that censorship mod's ruining the game. I'm like, motherfuck. There was like dozens of comments all saying to do this thing, and now everyone's complaining that we're doing it. And then all the people on a different level with Password, the visual novel, a ton of people all insisted that game was completed and finished. And then the moment we did a vote and then agreed to start it, and we're working on doing that Let's Play, immediately became apparent the game is not finished. it is actively being rewritten and revised, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this game's not finished at all. Suddenly it's like, oh wow, fucking wish you guys were here when everyone was saying it was finished a minute ago. That's me. That's, if you ever wonder why people do or don't listen to audience feedback, this is the mess of why. Because audience feedback is never unanimous and often full of misinformation, and you can't tell which is which at all. And you only find out after you've made the mistake of listening to people that it was a mistake to listen to them. Look at these guys just patrolling around. So this area is just completely packed with coyotes. We encountered this at like the very beginning of the game. Environmental storytelling wise, there is notably 2 graves here. One is across, the other one isn't, but I don't know if that's significant. Lonesome Road, it just says the name of the DLC on a sign, which is unusual. Oftentimes the name of the sign of the DLC doesn't even come up in the game. You can go home, Courier. Courier 6. The Divide. This is interesting. It's kind of really funny, like really goofy environmental storytelling, wall writing, like some I'm reminded that around now is when BioShock and Dead Space were coming out. Like there's a lot of like environmental storytelling that was the form of like just writing messages on the walls. But this one is like basically shouting what's going on with it, which is some interesting advertisement. This feels like a billboard for the DLC in a way that the other ways into the DLCs didn't necessarily feel like, especially since one of them was you getting kidnapped, and another one was you just getting teleported on a whim and be like, what's this thing do? Oh no, my brain's out now. There's been some very amusingly abrupt DLC intros. This one having like what feels like a movie poster advertising what's going on. This one's the goofiest one, maybe. Courier 6, question mark. It's inviting the question of what's going on here. And from what I can gather, the through line here, and it's a little hard to parse because until you know the whole picture, it's hard to tell which pieces of data you get in the background are relevant and important. But there have been a few instances in the different DLCs where somebody mentions some kind of courier. And you're like, hey, that's me. I'm the courier. Everyone calls me the courier because they can't use my name. So they call me the courier because I'm the guy that was being a courier and then got shot in the head. And that's my background. So everyone referring to a courier all the time to me, but not about me, invites the idea that there's an additional courier. And it raises the question of like whether it's tied to the mission that I was a courier in, or if it's just another courier. Like there's just like is this just an ongoing motif that there are plot-relevant, well-known couriers throughout the New Vegas Wasteland that just keep coming up and shaking things up or something? We're gonna have to find out. I don't remember. I feel like I was Courier 7. Was I Courier 7? I feel like I was numbered. I'm not sure. We first were doing all those files all the way back at Prim, discussing the couriers, like 3 months ago or something, because it's such a long playthrough. So I'm not entirely sure about that one. I think I might have been Courier 7, which would be interesting because that puts us in like James Bond territory, Courier, like 006, 007 maybe. Do I go in here? The coordinates you received lead you to this canyon filled with storm-tossed wreckage. Beyond lies the Divide. Lonesome Road is intended for experienced couriers, level 25 or higher. You cannot take companions with you or on the road ahead, nor bring any you find out with you. Any you find out with you? Bring it, like the ones I found out there with me back, I guess. You can carry whatever equipment and gear you have with it without restriction, however. If the journey proves too difficult, you need to resupply, you can retrace your steps and return to the Mojave at any time. If you're prepared to continue on into the storms of the Divide, history awaits. I walk this lonesome road, the only road that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's on to me and I walk. Is that walkable? It is. Oh, that cliff wasn't gonna go so good. It might have gone down there. That looks like a path, and that looks like maybe not a path. Okay, we got a pop-up called the Silo, and this place looks pretty obliterated. Got them government bullets. Yeah, this isn't gonna go anymore. The first thing that comes to mind with what I'm looking at here is the, what's it called? The man in the hills or whatever. His story about just looking out over a landscape, and then the bombs fell, and that old couple got their eyes fried, and he put them out of their misery. Went on to live in the hills. It was interestingly phrased where they put it in terms of "I didn't watch you die," because it was a letter to their family, if I remember correctly. Because they had a wife and a child that died in the blast, but they either luckily or knowledgeably, I think they knew, like they realized what was happening and knew to look away. They specifically looked away to not suffer the consequences. I'm a little surprised that there is purified water here. Probably should have done more vendoring between DLCs. Hopeville Silo Bunker entrance. Authorized military personnel only. Yeah, that is a completely obliterated landscape, and this definitely feels like... This gives the vibe of, like, nuclear gusts or something, which should be raising some questions, because I don't have constantly creeping up radiation, so seemingly it's clear and clean despite all appearances. On solid ground. Building the American... it's hard. Building the American dream on solid ground. It's a bunker, so I thought the gimmick was that they have underground bunkers, and I was like, haha, get it? It's underground. But from what I can make out, they're talking about that the American dream is these suburban neighborhoods up on the normal land, but then underneath the normal land is nuclear silos. So the solid ground was the mutually assured destruction, which done happened. It really done happened. Real eye-catching landscape. Let me know what you think, audience, in the Patreon, because you guys get this earlier. I'm thinking about looking for a mod that lets me have more party members once I return back to the main story, just because they're so underused that I would like to let them have more chance to shine. I don't necessarily want to, like, give myself infinite party members the way that you technically can with mods, but it'd be cool to get, like, Veronica and Arcade at the same time, and not just walk around with one of them. And then I don't have to always walk around just hoping to catch the right narrative hook or moment for them to actually interact, because those characters seem interesting, but they've had almost no chance to interact or do anything so far, and I think I'm just missing my chances constantly, because this game doesn't really surface how best to deal with those types of characters. On some level, I'm like, I wish I knew why the audience likes these characters so much. Because they do one opening conversation and then they never talk again, for the most part, unless you can trigger the exact scenes, I think, somehow. In a game where you can only have one party member and there's like 6. Door controls. The console controls access to the silo itself, but it is encrypted beyond your ability to hack. You need to find something that can break the encryption in order to proceed. I just want to look. I don't want to cause the whole thing to happen. Door is locked, requires electricity. Unlock maintenance access. Maintenance access status, unlocked. Access status log. Main power offline, emergency power standby, maintenance report. Level 1, non-operational, 2, non-operational, 3, non-operational, all of them say security measures inactive. Something that sets this part immediately up from the other DLCs is that we are not so far being inundated with exposition by an NPC. There was a very long conversation at the beginning of especially the Eyeball DLC and the the heist DLC. There's a somewhat shorter one and more optional one before the natives DLC, especially since that character dies immediately afterwards, which is a bit of a surprise. I've been led to believe that was supposed to happen, but it was definitely a moment of like, oh fuck, this has gone off the rails. That was pretty well done, I think, in that you're just panicked about the idea that you just came here with a bunch of people and all of them died one scene later. You're like, oh fuck, did I do bad? I'm sorry. The arc welder. That's very heavy looking. Oh, I had space for that? I thought it was like 15. Oh, I've got some more. Oh, I had like 40 of space. I appreciate the attempt to make each one a bit more different from each other. Like in one, the info comes from people that die immediately. In two of them, the info comes from the villain, admittedly. It's a bit of an overlap, and they're increasingly... And those two are the huge info dumps where you talk to one guy for like an hour before the DLC can even start. And this one, we just kind of wander in on this place. Feel like a kid again. Find all the Ralphie posters in the Divide? Oh, it's like a goofy movie. Starring those weird drone robots. There he is. Are you Ralphie? Bot pod status. Locked. Unlock. Commissary notice. Attention all base personnel. The automated commissary system has been locked down until further notice. Turns out that the counterfeit-proof pay chits we've been issuing to you are the exact same size and shape as ordinary bottle caps. Until we correct this problem, you'll have to make your purchases the old-fashioned way. Whoopsie. Reminder. This is just a reminder that all the base commissary terminals draw from the same central depository. Please do not waste your time on the technicians by running from commissary to commissary. You won't get any more whiskey than you did from the first one. Hello. What was that sound you played? Some kind of memory glitch? No, it wasn't your boot up sequence, it was a recording. Something about someone called Ralphie. Could be one of those robo-viruses. You might be contagious. Stay away from the other computers. I think I could use your help getting out of here. Can you come with me?
Experiment log 369248/B. iBot Duraframe Universal Interface Override System. This is Dr. Whitley presiding. We've boosted signal gain and enlarged the overflow buffer system. That should ensure 100% connectivity and control. Eddie, whenever you're ready. Yes, success. Reporting full success on 369248/B. Eddie was able to interface with and override the test panel in under 3 seconds. Great job, team. Now let's start on the proposal for the full rollout.
Eddie? Oh, this is rubbish all over again. Was that the voice of your creator? What happened to him? Expository beeping? I can't understand him. Maybe you'll see him again someday. That's a recording from your development. You saying you can override electronic security? Only panels with a dish-shaped receiver. The console in the main room is one of those, I think. Alright, let's keep moving. Hi. Might need that breathing mask going forward. I believe I can't lockpick this stuff. All things considered, I don't mind the lockpicking minigame in comparison to the... Hello? In comparison to the hacking one. It's really because it's just so much shorter. Like, so much shorter. The hacking minigame is such a nightmare to look at, and the lockpicking minigame takes 3 seconds. And it's like, and it's this little, like, finicky little thing where you're like, you're just like teasing the angles, and it's like, it never quite feels like you're a master of it, but it also isn't so difficult or tedious where you have to do some big long process or carefully, like, hunt for small details or read a giant document. It's just a quick little Welcome to the United States Armed Services Joint Automated Commissary and Repair System. USASJAC. I don't think it spells anything. Uses access the commissary. I would like to get rid of my excessive ammo types. How did you know? Let's see. Probably not using this anymore, but it's too expensive. We're also probably done with this, but it is kind of like a plot item that I should probably try to put away. I don't know. It's only got a weight of 2, so I can just hold on to it for now. Health regeneration endurance +1. Health and regeneration endurance +1. Why is there more than 1? Oops, too valuable. Where's my old world money? It's pre-war. Pre-war money. It's a bit more. Do you think I've mostly been trying to avoid grabbing any more booze items? It's because I don't want them to always fill up my inventory. That's too many expired stim packs. That's enough. That's enough money out of that, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I gotta remember that I want to hold on to my punchy glove to give to Veronica. It's probably better than her starting one by now. Evil robots. Or not. I mean, they do seem to be working on a nuclear missile, so I'm a bit worried. Beyond the previous one, I would love to explore every single side character story. I try to do that in most games, but I don't think that's actually logistically possible in this one. Especially now, with me having already played a certain amount of it without preemptively doing everything right psychically or something. Okay. Scared beeping. I did not expect this one to just open. kind of thought they wouldn't want me in the same room. I feel like I should be a little worried that the launch silo's crooked. Oh yeah, the missile's even more crooked than the silo is. That's doing me an alarming. Oh?
Dr. Grant? What the hell do you think you're doing?
Ah, Whitley, there you are. Orders from Colonel Autumn. He feels the iBot Duraframe project isn't advancing quickly enough. I'm to...
You didn't even disengage his damage avoidance protocols. You're hurting him.
Don't be ridiculous. It's just a machine. See here. I've already increased the navigation system's efficiency by 65%.
Get the hell out of here!
Fine, Whitley. It's your lab. At least until I tell the Colonel about this.
Sounds like Dr. Whitley really cared about you. Who the hell's General Winters? The recording mentioned a Colonel Autumn. Ralphie who? You're still not making sense, Edie. Dr. Grant sounds like a war crime waiting to happen. Wow, you kiss your mother with that mouth? That's a terrible story, Edie, but we should get going. Well, that certainly looks like it's going somewhere. What was back here, then? No. Bah. Started. Rebuild. Station. Landing. Wow! Alright, so it's not anything that says ing at the end. Landing. A watched. Land. Land. Landi. Landing orbital. That was it's actually really good to have something that ends with ing and then it says 0 overlap. That means you're like, well, fuck. I can immediately cross out most of the screen probably. It's gonna be good. Hydraulics access status. Unlock. Now what have I done? This nail gun might be the primary reason for coming in here. Yeah, I think getting a nail gun's the whole reason for coming in here. It's just a fun little side item. This room doesn't go anywhere. There's no notes or computers, I don't think. Doing all right? Michael. Biggest. Oop. B-I-G-G-E-S-T. I'm sorry. M-I-C-H-A-E-L. Wow. Let me skip this. There we go. Kept clicking. Ceiling. C-E-I-L-I-N-G. C-E-I-L-I-N-G 2. Spot. C-E-I-L-I-N-G 2. D-E-S-P-I-T-E 2. Wrong. C-E-I-L-I-N-G. What? C-E-I-L-I. C-E-I-L-I-N-G. C-E-I-L-I 3. All the ings are bad. C-E-I-L-I-N-G. D-E-S-P-I-T. Despite. Okay. Cool. Alright. Deactivate second level robot security. Goodbye. It is very funny that in this game, missiles have no weight. Like, I know ammo in general should have weight anyway, but missiles seem pretty extreme for a thing that to not have weight. Even in a mode where all other ammo doesn't have weight. Ah. Dead marked man. He doesn't have a face. No, I don't think I want to see him in flesh. Call me old-fashioned, not looking to take his flesh. Why do none of you have skin? Like, that's upsetting. At the terminal. Hack security turrets. Get him! Why are you even active? Aren't you a level 2 security bot? That's supposed to be on my team now. If this one's defeated. Oh, that one. I don't think I did that. Yep, that's a Bowie knife. Another arc welder. You guys doing alright in there? Taking that turret a while to kill. Mainframe's locked down with a secure military-grade encryption sequence. You'll need to find the security codes and upload them to ED to gain access to the mainframe. I'm gonna hack the mainframe. Wow, it's really good. It's kind of action-packed out there. Who is that? Medium armor. You know, I got a thing for medium armor. Shit. No, No! Wait, did I not pick it up? Apparently not. I thought I picked it up. What? There we go. Not getting in there so easily. Ooh! Ooh! You guys doing alright out here? It seems you have not defeated him. There we go. Get him, get him, get him. Finally. Was that just one bot? Hacking the turrets is not very effective. There you are. Ah, more friends. How many hammer swings do you think they can survive? General Martin Retzlaff. U.S. Army general in uniform. He's unwell.